Greetings, hello. What's going on, guys? Unoptimized Fool from the closet. And I want to talk to you about delve difficulty solo versus group. Now, this is a little bit of a rough subject here for some people because I got a couple of, I would say, arguments on X about this type of system. So, an article came out, and we all know this, right? When you play delves, both solo and group, that it's infinitely easier to play in a group setting to go through delves. And it's got a lot of people, getting mad about it. They got mad because, this content that was, advertised as being solo is easier in group. What the hell? They're dropping the ball. Now, they did put a hotfix out that did buff, the damage in the group settings, so it's a little bit harder. And I agree that the scaling is a little bit off, but I argue, and I will hold this stance and I will die on this hill, that group content should be easier compared to its solo equivalent. That doesn't mean that Mythic, rating should be easier than solo content. I'm saying if it has a solo equivalent to it, it should always be easier. Now, why is that? Now, we play World of Warcraft, which is a massively multiplayer online game, right? So when you log on, you're logging on through the internet and playing with different people. Now, I get it. As from 2004 to 2024, we've become a little bit less social in World of Warcraft, and that's fine. There's some people who just want to play solo in World of Warcraft. It's weird to me because, again, it's an MMO, right? But if you enjoy World of Warcraft, that's fine. I'm not saying you're wrong here. I'm just saying your solo content, Blizzard shouldn't have to make solo content better than group content to get you to play, right? What Blizzard should be doing, what they do is they do have solo content, the delves, but it is harder for solo players to progress, right? Because, think about it. Delve 8 is 600 item level recommended, right? So we're basically 20 item levels lower, and you expect to do the content by yourself. It's still a bit high expectations. The season just came out. It hasn't even been a week yet. We need to calm down, right? We just need to simmer down because, again, we're pushing content we shouldn't be doing. And yeah, in a group setting, you have a lot more combinations, class combinations, spell combinations. It's going to be a lot easier, and it should always be that way. Blizzard should always be trying to push solo players into group content. Why? Oh, that's just mean to solo players. No, you're playing a massively multiplayer online game, right? It's the developer's job and, interest in mind to push solo players out of their comfort zone a bit, and this is how they do it, right? They're like, the solo people are like, man, the group people, they have it so much easier at level 8. I'm like, I can't even get past level 6. And then maybe one day they're like, maybe I can just join a group real quick, or maybe join a guild and go through there. Oh, this is pretty fun in a group. Let me do more group content. That's a good progression system from solo to group content, because again, I don't think they should fully focus on solo content. Obviously build up the framework, but give the opportunity for a solo player to do group content, because when they do group content, I argue that's funner, one, and two, it's a social MMO, right? So obviously the more interactions you have with other people, and the more the more the players interact with each other, is better for everyone, right? And for the developers and for the players. So people who are complaining that solo is harder, it always should be harder. Because again, that national progression into solo to group content, right? Now, obviously, there is a scaling issue, and they did try to fix it, but I've seen a lot of complaining there. They'll be complaining about the system no matter what it is, right? My stance is solo should always be, if there's a solo equivalent to group content, it should always be harder than the group content, right? For example, you look at story mode inside a rating, right? Obviously, solo mode is going to be easier. Now, that's the little bit of exception, right? Because obviously solo the story mode is just to get the story of, the rakes. Remember, the story is really heavily tied in the raids these days. So that makes sense. That's the only really exception that we have in current WoW. But yeah, I wanted to bring this attention because, again, we did have a hotfix just come in last night. And yeah, the group content's harder, but the scaling was off, though. It did seem a little bit off. When I was doing 8 delves, it felt really easy. Now, there were situations where, I almost got one shot, but there need to be a little bit more struggle for me, because they dropped 603 gear. But yeah, what's your opinion about this problem? Do you think solo should always be easier? Should always be harder? Do you think people are crying like big babies? Google Gaga? I don't know, guys. But Unoptimized Fool from the closet. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.